views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDBTV.
Whether she's walking the red carpet or doing interviews, you'll find her with celebrities and all the latest news. She's here, she's there, she's everywhere, she's always on the go. So sit back, relax, and get ready, 'cause it's the Corey Taylor Talks Show.
Corey Taylor Talks, live from Las Vegas. We are back, and I am so excited for my guest today. We had, oh my God, probably 6 months ago now, I would say. Something like that.
It's been a while.
Yeah, but I'm so excited to have you back on. And we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Obviously, the whole world's crazy, but we also need to keep going with our lives. And so we have Phillip Game with us, and I'm so excited to have you back. So welcome
thanks for
back.
having me.
Yes. So why don't we get updated with you? How are you doing? How's everything going with you?
Well, everything's going well. You know, business is kind of booming at the gun school because it seems like during this quarantine period or lockdown, whatever you want to call it, everybody decided that, well, there's a whole lot of new firearms owners out there.
Right.
Everyone went shopping for guns. So, I've been getting a lot of calls, a lot of questions, a lot of people wanting lessons. And I thought, now might be a good time to reach out to some of the new gun owners out there and, talk a little bit about what the next steps should be for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's easy. Well, it's not really easy, but it's easy to get a gun, but then to actually take care of it properly and know about it and everything is really important. And you need to be a responsible gun owner. And
Exactly.
I think a lot of people bought it out of scaredness, which is understandable. But now they own it, so they gotta be responsible with it, right?
Exactly, and that's sort of a typical purchasing pattern.
Right.
You see, when something bad happens, there's almost always a spike in firearm sales.
Right.
People get nervous, they get fearful, and understandably so. And then they realize, hey, it really highlights for people that, hey, my self-protection is my own responsibility.
Yeah.
When seconds count, the police are minutes away.
Yeah.
And but then again, like I said, people buy it and then they don't know what to do from there, because they've never had, a lot of people who buy haven't had the training.
Right.
And purchasing's fairly easy, like you said. I mean, it's all gun purchases do require a background check in the state of Nevada. Mm-hmm. When you go to a gun store, if you have a concealed carry permit, that serves as your background check. Otherwise, it's an additional $25 cost, and they can, make the call into the state, and they do the instant background check right there.
Right.
Even private sales now require background checks.
Really?
So if I was to sell you a firearm, you and I both have to make an appearance at a gun store.
Interesting.
And unlike buying from the gun store, we have to have background checks.
Right.
It's not even if you have a concealed firearms permit, you still have to have the background check because that's the way the law is written.
Right.
So, we want people to be aware of that. Even when you purchase a gun online, there's a lot of talk about that. You go to gun stores, maybe they're out of the one that you want. Mm-hmm. So you go to an online website. You don't just order it and have it shipped to your home. That doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. You go online, it has to go through a gun store. You have to, go through the background check unless you have a concealed carry permit. And, excuse me. And it's just like buying the gun from the store, except they charge you a little fee, $10, $25. It varies from store to store. They call it a transfer fee. And, that's if for someone out there who's been thinking about it, that's how it goes.
Right.
Now, the gun store people aren't going to ask you if they're not going to ask you about your level of experience. They're not going to ask you about their level of training. They're going to sell you a firearm.
Right.
You know, and generally there's exceptions to that.
Right, of course. Every rule, right?
Yep. Now, the first thing I want to talk about for anybody who's a new firearms owner is the 3 rules of gun safety.
Yes.
And now you'll hear these expressed a bunch of different ways. You know, there's the 10 Commandments, the dozen rules. These 3 seem to be very succinct and cover it. These are the NRA's 3 rules. Always keep the gun pointed in a safe direction.
Mm-hmm.
Always keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. And always keep the gun unloaded until you're ready to use it. You know, and if you're carrying, whether you're open carrying, concealed carrying, yes, carry it loaded because the gun is in use. We want to talk about safe use and storage.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got my phone here because I can't memorize all this stuff.
It's a lot, but I appreciate you doing this.
Well, you want to be sure that your gun is safe to operate. Now, if you don't know how to do a function check, that's usually in your firearms owner's manual. If you don't have the manual, can't find it online, take it to a gunsmith or a firearms instructor. They'll show you how to do it, and they'll check it for you. You want to use only the correct ammunition for your gun, and just because it fits doesn't mean that it's the right stuff.
Right.
You want to know how to use the gun safely, and that's a pretty broad statement there. But again, I think it comes back to, you know, think about how you're going to use it. Are you going to just keep it in your home for home defense? Are you intending to carry it? You know, what's your purpose? And whatever your purpose, seek instruction for that purpose. Wear eye and ear protection as appropriate, and it's always appropriate. You know, anytime you're practicing with your firearm, protect your eyes, protect your ears. You know, you fire that gun without any hearing protection, and even one shot can do some hearing damage.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're just very loud instruments here.
Very loud.
You want to know your target,
Yeah.
and you want to know what's beyond your target. Because once that round leaves that firearm, you're responsible for wherever it goes and whatever it does.
Right.
And you can't call it back. Let's see. Never use alcohol or drugs before or while shooting. You know, save the beers for afterwards, guys.
Pretty self-explanatory, but unfortunately needs to be said.
It does need to be said. I mean, people get nervous and they think, well, I'll just have a little something to settle my nerves. No,
Right.
don't do that. You want to be sharp when you're practicing with your firearm. You store guns so that they are not accessible to untrained or unauthorized persons.
Yeah.
Now, this can be a lot of different things. I mean, you know, if you're a hermit, you live by yourself, and you never have any kids over and nobody ever visits, and it's in a drawer in your nightstand, okay, well then nobody's going to mess with it. On the other hand, if you have a very curious kid or nephews, nieces, cousins, and everybody's in your house all the time, maybe you need a gun safe.
Right.
Maybe you need a really good gun safe.
Right.
You know, so but it is the gun owner's responsibility to store it in a way that the people who aren't supposed to have it can't get hold of it.
Right.
And I want to add a special note for people who have kids in the house, you know, parents, again, uncles, aunts. You want to do a search for the Eddie Eagle gun safety rules. And Eddie Eagle is a character that was created by the National Rifle Association. He's really cute. You know, he's an eagle. He flaps his wings. He sings songs. But most importantly, he teaches kids about firearm safety. And he teaches 4 things. He teaches if you come across a firearm, you stop. You don't touch it. You leave the area, and you tell an adult. And he makes it into a nice song and everything. It's really adorable. But again, stop, don't touch, leave the area, tell an adult.
Yeah.
You know, that's the Eddie Eagle rules for gun safety. And last but not least, if you're planning on carrying in the state of Nevada, you need to be aware of a couple of things. The first thing you want to be aware of is that concealed carry, which is not readily discernible by ordinary observation, concealed carry is prohibited everywhere in Nevada unless you have a concealed carry permit. So you don't conceal it on your person or in a bag or backpack unless you have the concealed carry permit. There are places off limits even with a permit, such as the secure side of airports. That's past the TSA checkpoint. You can't carry in any federal buildings. State and local government buildings prohibit concealed carry where no gun signs are posted and or metal detectors are present. Open carry is permitted in state and local government facilities, but again, if they've got the metal detector up, they're probably not going to let you in,
Right.
and you have to decide whether you want to go along or be an activist.
Right.
Any child care facility, preschool, K through 12 school, college, or university, any school facility, daycare, pre-K, whatever, off limits.
Yeah.
And that includes the parking lots.
Yeah.
We actually had a guy who was an instructor sometime last year, I think it was, and he was a student at CSN, and he had a trunk full of stuff, and he made the mistake of leaving an AR-15 magazine on his seat. Someone walked by, spotted it, called campus police. They searched his car, and I haven't followed up on the case, but last I saw, he was in a world of trouble.
Right.
And he wasn't out to hurt anybody. He had just held a class,
Right.
went to do a class at CSN for himself. And well, that kind of covers, all I wanted to that covers the high points of what I wanted to come here
Yeah.
and talk about. And if there's any, if you got any questions or anything else you want to discuss, well, I'm here for the rest of the time.
Absolutely. No, well, first of all, thank you for coming in to discuss. I think that's really amazing of you, because I think that's what separates you from a lot of instructors and stuff, is that you genuinely care, and
thank you.
you're really, really thoughtful, and you want the best for people, and you really want to give knowledge to people, which is very important and what you need in an instructor. And I took your CCW class. In fact, I have it with me right now. I finally got it in the mail. I'm so excited.
Hey.
Yes. But I think it's very important in your class, and you learn a lot from it. And even if you don't necessarily want a CCW, I think it's a very important class to take. I know I learned so much from it. I know a lot of people there learned so much from it. And even there's so many laws and stuff, and there's so many little tweaks here and there, and so you explain literally everything and everything people need to know, because like you said, it's really easy to get in trouble because there are so many laws, so you really need to be careful with what you do with it, and you really explain every single one of them, and you give example. I mean, you're really amazing. You're an incredible instructor.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
yeah.
that.
Well, I appreciate you coming on to give out safety advice and everything with gun ownership, because there was a giant spike in buying guns and everything when this first started, and I think even now it's still going on.
Well, one of the things you mentioned a minute ago is that, it was kind of important to have a concealed carry permit if you're intending to carry.
Right.
And even if you're just thinking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, the state of Nevada, by state law, they have to either issue or deny the permit within 120 days of you dropping off the application. Well, okay, they're a little bit backlogged right now because, they had to kind of shut everything down due to coronavirus. And, on average, from the time you drop off the paperwork and do your fingerprints and your photo, they have to issue it within 120 days. And it was taken, the last I checked, about 90. But I've had a couple of students lately, that have contacted me and said, well, hey, it's taken 100 days, 110 days.
Yeah.
So the state's running really close to the wire in getting these out. And, if someone gets to the point where they feel that they want to carry, or there's a danger in their life where they need to carry, you're stuck open carrying or not carrying at all for the time it takes to process the permit.
Right.
I mean, it's not like some states where it's 2 weeks and you get it back. You know, this is, up to 120 days. That's 4 months.
Yeah.
A lot can happen in 4 months.
I think that's how long it took me. Maybe it was a little under, probably more 100 days, but it did take a very long time to get it back. Yeah.
Now, one other thing I want to talk about is that with concealed carry courses, the course is about carrying. You're not typically learning to shoot in a concealed carry course,
Right.
which you saw.
Right.
It's, the course covers self-defense law, it covers gun laws in your state. They touch on, we touch on basic operating principles and, which guns do what, and, revolvers versus semi-automatics and so on. But in most concealed carry classes, you're not taught one-on-one, hands-on how to shoot the firearm.
Right.
It's assumed that you know that by
Right.
the time you get to the class. So if you're new to firearms, I want to reiterate that the concealed carry class isn't necessarily the first class you should take.
Absolutely.
You could take a basic pistol course. That's the NRA basic pistol course is the gold standard. We actually have one coming up. I'd have to look for the date. It's in July, I think.
Okay.
But 8 hours, about half of which is in the classroom, half of which is on the range, and it's soup to nuts, everything you ever wanted to know about handguns and then some. If you don't have that much time to put in, the gun school has a special that's 2 hours of private instruction and admission into the next concealed carry class for $199, which is a pretty good value.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of people prefer to learn that way because you've got an instructor one-on-one with you,
Right.
giving you undivided attention.
Right.
Yeah, and that's actually the safest way to teach as well.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. No, I really, like I said, I think you're amazing. And you like you said, you offer multiple classes, correct? Like all different kinds of classes?
Yes. Right now on our calendar, we've got Nevada concealed carry. We've got multi-state concealed carry, which focuses on Nevada and Utah. And you get the Nevada resident permit and the Utah non-resident permit, and that gives you right to carry concealed rather. And I want to say 34 states. I haven't checked lately. I'll make sure that hasn't changed, so don't hold me to that. but 34 states,
Yeah.
where you can legally carry a concealed firearm with those two permits.
Oh.
So we also do basic pistol, which I talked about.
Right.
We do concealed firearms permit renewals, which the basic class or the initial class takes 8 hours. If you've had your permit and it's still active, getting close to expiring, or if it's expired but by less than a year, you can take the 4-hour renewal course, which costs a little less and takes a lot less time.
Yeah.
But if you don't see a 4-hour renewal course scheduled, you can still take the 8-hour class if you've got a day to kill.
Yeah, no, I really think it's amazing, and like I said, I really loved learning from you because you really went into detail with everything, and you're kind and you're understanding, and I've never taken a CCW class with anyone else, but I've known a lot of people that have, and for some reason, unfortunately, a lot of places are very, I don't want to use the word mean, but kind of mean, and they don't care really. And like you said, it's very informal, and it's just whatever. And if you're not an expert, they don't even want to talk to you. Like, it's just kind of interesting.
Well, you have to understand
Yeah.
where a lot of these instructors come from. They have police and military backgrounds,
Right.
which that's not a bad thing.
Right.
I mean, I'm a veteran myself.
Right.
And they try to take that experience and teach their classes that way.
Right.
And that sometimes there's elements of that can work, but then there's elements of it that can intimidate people
Right.
and put them off. You don't want to try to run a gun range with regular Joes on it the same way
Right.
that you would run a range with Army soldiers on it.
Right.
It's a different ball game. So we have a motto: less tactical, more practical.
That's right.
And we try to keep it low key, keep it stress free.
Yes.
When I've got my students on the range, I don't want you uptight.
Right.
Especially when you're first starting.
Uh-huh.
I don't want you nervous. I don't want you to be flinching as I'm barking stuff out. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. You make a mistake on the range, and it's a safety thing. Then you're going to hear my voice.
Okay.
but by and large, we want it to be fun,
Right.
and I want people to learn.
Yeah.
I want people to learn and be comfortable learning.
Yes. Very important. And so you said business has been actually really good then due to this, correct?
Well, yes and no. I mean, we've gotten a lot of inquiries, and people are wanting to sign up. We've kind of had a little bit of a difficult time having with a venue because
right.
coronavirus. Clark County Shooting Complex shut down.
Right.
Excuse me. They shut down, I want to say, mid to late March, and they're just now starting to open. They should be open by about May 20th, so we've had to cancel a couple of classes.
Right.
And they're starting by reopening the ranges. They haven't reopened the classrooms just yet. I'm fingers crossed, praying
Yeah.
that they're going to have the classrooms open by the time the June courses roll around. So, but aside from the, again, just the difficulty finding venue,
Right.
it's been, a lot of people calling in, asking questions. Hey, I just bought a gun. What do I do next? Hey,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about getting a concealed carry permit, but I haven't shot much before. And, I'm trying to get everybody into those private lessons
Yeah.
and get everybody into those basic pistol courses and,
Right.
get them trained, get them
Yeah.
educated.
Absolutely, and that's the most important thing. Like you said, with being a gun owner is a very big responsibility, and you really need to know everything and be safe. And I think that's very important that you're bringing attention to that and helping people with that. So.
Well, safety is the number one priority. I mean, that's the whole purpose of owning a firearm is keeping yourself safe,
Right.
keeping your family safe.
Right.
And if you're careless and you're causing injury to yourself, damage to your property, or God forbid, death
Yeah.
because of careless handling, then you're defeating the purpose of having the firearm in the first place.
Absolutely.
So again, training, education, with the goal of being safe and proficient. Safety and proficiency with the firearm go hand in hand.
Yes. Very true. Well, I'm so glad that you're getting a lot of inquiries and hopefully a lot of business as soon as the ranges open back up and you can do your classroom. But I'm glad that people are reaching out and are being responsible themselves to even reach out and want to learn more about it instead of just buying a gun and going willy-nilly with it, So I'm glad that people are reaching out to you and that you're helping them and responding. And like I said, hopefully the classrooms will be back open very soon, very, very soon, and you could do it.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm glad that people are reaching out as well. I mean, those of us in the firearms community, I mean, I'm part of several forums, interest groups, and so on. When the gun sales went up, everybody's like, oh man, we've got all these new people out here and they're going to be carrying guns and they don't know what they're doing with them. And it's like, well, hopefully they call us.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what's been happening.
Yeah,
I'm pleased
good.
to say. So
I'm glad to hear that too. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause you're right. We don't want people out there carrying without any training because, again, having a firearm is all about keeping yourself safe.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're carrying without training, you not only are you being unsafe, but you could be putting yourself at risk for incarceration, and
Definitely.
we don't want that.
Yeah.
We don't want anybody put in jail for exercising their Second Amendment right in an irresponsible way.
Right. Very true.
So yeah, we'll see what the next few months bring. Hopefully, we are having to limit our class size right now.
Of course, right.
Normally the classrooms hold about 30 people. You've seen them. I mean, they're huge.
Yeah.
but we're capping all of our classes at 10 right now.
Gotcha.
And, that's kind of in line with the governor's orders,
Right.
or is it an order or a recommendation? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
We're keeping the classrooms, kind of, again, to 1/3 occupancy. And, that's, it's also a good opportunity to, get some more individual attention.
Right.
You get a smaller group, you get to, there's more opportunity to ask questions and have discussions and so on, more so
Definitely.
than you would have with a larger class.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm so glad we had you on. And where can people find your school and sign up for classes and get all the information for you?
Okay, the website is www.vegasgunschool.com, and you can go on the website. You can check out our about info, and you can select course schedules, and that will pull up a list of courses. You can sign up right there on the website. We take Visa, MasterCard, all major credit cards, and there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Well, thank you so much for being on. I really, really appreciate it. I think
always a
you're
pleasure.
awesome. So thank you for sharing your knowledge and making sure that people are responsible with their gun ownership. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course. And thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, please be safe if you are buying your firearms. Get some instructions. Obviously, he is the perfect person to go to. Really an incredible man. So thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, never give up, always believe, and you will achieve. Thank you. God bless.